Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Hello. What is up? I'm Jared Welch here and Aaron Halterman. It's December 4th, and this is Blinkers Off, first pod of December. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good, man. We have got a good show, I think, today. I think we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have some fantasy league stuff, and then some pretty decent racing. I think this weekend. I kind of like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, we got a couple, Derby prep, Oaks prep, and then of course the Cigar Mile. And yeah, today's show, at the end of the show, we are going to go over the draft order, and we're gonna, bring back the fantasy. Or the virtual track, I guess, we sometimes use on the show. So we're going to do that to determine the draft order. So that will be fun. And did you determine have you decided on the day of the draft?
I am going to think the draft is going to be December 29th. Monday, December 29th will be the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got a new team. I'll announce them a little bit later when we do the fantasy segment. So a lot going on, man. And I think we're going to have a really good year. New rules. I kind of alluded to them last week. I'll make those official this week as well.
All right. We'll get to that here in a second. We'll also get to the handicapping, but last week, real quick, kind of what we saw last week, Magnitude literally held on to win the Clark. And then further ado, I mean, I don't know if he lived up to the hype, but he did what he was supposed to do. So what do you think of those two performances? And do you think we talked a little bit about Magnitude, and if he were to win that race, like what that might mean for him, moving forward? So what do you think?
Well, I loved it. I thought Magnitude was great. I thought he was the best performance of the week there. I don't think he's going to be that Iowa Derby Risen Star type horse. I also don't think he's anywhere close to the Travers horse that was so bad. I think he kind of is meeting in the middle there with two solid efforts in a row. Pennsylvania Derby getting second, and then the Clark winning. I like that he has that style now where he doesn't have to have the lead. That's important as you get into the bigger races. So I don't know that he's good enough to beat those heavy hitters that are coming back. But I think he's put himself in conversation. I think if they spot him right, I think there's a lot of races he can win out there.
Yeah, I'll call it right now. I think he's going to win this race next year, the Cigar Mile.
Really?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I can't decide if he wants to go that long, as far as like the highest caliber. Like, can he win the Classic? I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think so. But this is the kind of race, like, that speed, maybe he could, he could do well in a race like that. So I don't know. That's just a 1 year early prediction. But I thought he was awesome. He kind of looked like, oh shit, like he's about to like just destroy this field. Like you could just tell like he's gonna run. Then a guy is like, all right, get to the wire, come on, finish the race. So kind of like I'm with you. It kind of went from like this is about to be like wow to I mean, he's really good. He's good, but I don't know how much I love him against like the big dogs. I don't know like if they decide, say, to go to the Pegasus from that race, I don't know that I would like automatically think he's like a big contender. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's kind of accurate. I think they'll spot him in good spots. Obviously with Asmussen, he's pretty good at getting horses in right spots, number one, and they get a little bit better as they get older as well, it seems like. So, yeah, I'm with you. I didn't look at it and go, okay, that's a Pegasus Dubai World Cup type. I think he might be more of like, hey, that's an Oakland Handicap type, right? That's a New Orleans Handicap type of horse. Yeah. And nothing wrong with that.
Nope. And like you said, Asmussen, well, one, he has no shortage of horses, so he can typically run where they want to run. And two, I think if he's not good enough or doesn't think he's good enough, he's not going to continue to run him in the big races. So he'll find the right spots. So,
yep.
What about further ado? We've been itching for to kind of find who is that. It's Ted Nafi, obviously. Everybody's going to be vying for that number one spot in the draft here coming up. So we know that, but we're kind of like trying to figure out, all right, who's the second pick in that? And do you think further ado did enough to solidify that?
Not really. No, I wasn't overly impressed with him. I think it was a good workman-like type of win. He certainly was not as impressive as his maiden win. And I do think he probably got a lot out of that race, having to kind of go head to head with a horse and put him away and then win. Just it was a good performance. I don't think it was a great performance. That's how I would describe it. You don't want to be too negative because you did go win a Kentucky Derby prep race and you first start against winners, and that's not easy. So you give him credit. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. So that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, I think he did enough. I mean, unfortunately, it kind of like kept us in the same boat as we were going into it, where it's like, yeah, I mean, he could be the second horse, but did he show that he is? No, I think he's right in that group of, those, whether how you would think about Napoleon Solo or Incredibolt or Litmus Test or some of those horses that are like in that 5 to 12 range as far as like kind of on the points leaderboard. Spice Runner, just horses that you're like, I don't really know. They're not bad. They're not great. Maybe they'll turn into something. That race in itself hasn't necessarily been super productive in terms of the winner towards the Kentucky Derby. So that's kind of working against them. But again, it's hard to like you said, sit there and trash it because he did kind of do what he was supposed to do, and that was win.
Yeah, and he kind of sat kind of patiently and then went after and got Soldier and Diplomat. I think Soldier and Diplomat's going to be pretty good going a little bit shorter. But I just didn't see that burst, that we saw on that maiden win. But and again, it's harder to beat horses when you're facing better horses like that. Harder to win a stakes race than a maiden. That's a obvious statement. And so sometimes those races aren't perfect, but you walk away going, well, look, it's a win. Last 50, 100 yards of the race kind of looked like he was going to win, and he did. So you don't want to get too high or too low on horses right now in this crop. You just kind of want to see how it unfolds. I would say it's a win that puts him right there. And now let's see if he can kind of improve and steadily kind of get going here as we get into 2026. But I would imagine, a prep at Fairgrounds or Oaklawn is going to be next for this horse. And I am guessing, I have no idea what will be in those fields, but I'm guessing he's going to look pretty good on paper heading into that race.
Well, yeah. I mean, these early races are just the ones that like kind of give you a thought of like maybe what they could be something decent. But
yeah,
past that, you're just like, all right, well, let's see it one more at least to kind of confirm. He goes and does that again in the next one, then you're like, all right, this is like maybe he's not Ted Nafi, but he's probably, I mean, shit, look at who we have to work with at the moment. He's right there. So, and here's the thing, dude. I mean, I guess we have 3 weeks to between now and the draft. Like, unless something drastic happens, he's a first round pick, like, and so that, we're sitting there talking about, I don't know, he kind of like, I'm not going to say one way or another, and yet he's a first round pick. And that kind of tells you a lot about where we're at right now.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be 12 teams in the league. And I don't see any way he's not one of the top 12 horses. So he might be a first 5 pick.
Yeah. I mean, shit, he is right now. I mean, if the draft was this weekend, I think he probably would be, right?
I mean, he might be a first 3 pick. I mean,
you
know what I mean? So yeah, and you're right. I look, my big thing, and the thing I've been telling myself over and over and over and over is don't overrate the maidens. I've done it for years. And yes, you do hit one or two. You're like, see, I was right. But most of the times, those maiden wins don't hold up right off the bat long term, right? So I'm just judging him by what he did in the stakes race is a long way of what I'm trying to say. I don't really care about his maiden. So let's look at it now when he's up against the stakes company. That's the data point. He looked like an okay horse. You move on. And that's where I'm at with it.
If we were, maybe it's a hard question because we don't even know maidens that much right now at the moment, but like, if let's just say there was a really promising looking maiden that you liked, and you had the 12th I'll say the ninth through 12th pick. And would you want to go this horse further ado, or if that maiden like looked really good, would you be like, I'll roll the dice with this one? Like, where are you kind of at in terms of the maidens versus these? They've won a stakes, but at the same time, you're not totally convinced they can do much moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different in a draft because you're trying to figure, okay, can this horse move forward? Where's the horse going to be? All that kind of stuff matters as well, As far as like handicapping in a race, like last week, I picked Further Ado. But if there was an established horse in that race with established stakes form, I'm probably going to start leaning more towards that horse versus the horse that is coming off one maiden win. Right now, if there's a horse that runs in a maiden and then you see an allowance, then that's a little different. But I'm generally going to try to stay away from those horses who have just one maiden race. Of course, in this Further Ado situation, he had 3, so he had a little bit more foundation around him too. But anyway, I'm staying against chasing the next great thing unless you just get into a situation where it's like, well, even he doesn't have to be the next great thing to win this race. And guess what? He wasn't, and he still won. Right. And so that kind of proved to be true, but I don't know. Let's pretend Mr. AP was in that race last week. I would have went Mr. AP.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. And
the more Mr. AP doesn't run and these other ones do, I think you're still like, well, I think I might still go Mr. AP,
Right.
Which is only really because he got how he finished against the horse that's number 1, and so that really didn't learn a lot other than that. But the least, I think kind of the unknownness of some of these horses is somewhat more appealing than kind of the mildness of some of these other ones we've seen run, so.
Yep.
But yeah, lots to figure out. And we got more to figure out this weekend because my favorite time of the year when we run 2-year-olds a mile and 1/8, and then we wait a couple months and we run them at a mile again down the road. Don't ask me why, but that's my favorite tradition like no other. It's the Demoiselle and the Remsen, both for the Oaks and the Derby. Cigar Mile coming up as well. We're going to run through every one of those races, and then you're going to want to watch the running of the draft, we'll call it, for the Triple Crown Fantasy Horse Racing League coming up here in a few weeks. We're going to run a race of virtual horses to determine the order 1 through 12. I've been talking to my horse in the paddock. He is ready to roll, so just hang tight, guys. Let's go. Yeah, he's ready. I fed him some carrots this morning. He's ready to run his race, Halterman, which doesn't really mean anything because usually I never get a good draft pick, so it probably means he's going to run like 8th, but he's ready to go.
I love that.
Guarantee you, I'm between you and I. Well, you've got.
Well, here's the deal. This is brand new, right? Like we'd never determined it this way. So
it's true. Things could change now. All right, let's go to Aqueduct on Saturday. We got 3 major races to discuss here. We're going to give picks for each and every one of them. The Demoiselle kicks things off early on the card, race number 3. It's a grade 2. It's for the Kentucky Oaks, 10, 5, 3, 2, 1 for your top 5 finishers. And they're going, again, it's $250K. They're going a mile and 8 for the Phillies 2-year-olds. And small field here, in this one anyways, of 6 to 5 on the Pletcher Zanny. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I didn't love this race overall. I might be, wasting my time here, but I am going to try to take a shot against the big favorite here, the 6 to 5 shot, and go with the number 4 concurrently at 3 to 1. This is a horse that has 3 races so far. Tried the turf on debut. That was not for this horse. And then lost by a nose in the dirt debut 2 races back, and then won last time out by a half length in a maiden special weight. Getting a little better each start, in my opinion. I thought the last race was pretty good. Showed a little bit more early speed. I think that's very, very, very important. Flavian Pratt back aboard for the 4th straight race. I think the horse will go a mile and 1/8. I don't mind the stretch out. So going to take a little bit of a chance, I guess, or a shot, really more than anything, against the heavy favorite here with the number 4 concurrently.
Yeah, that was one that I liked as well. I'm kind of with you on taking a shot against, not necessarily because I don't think the horse can win. Just I feel like I didn't love this race either. And I went against, and I kind of went a different angle than you did, and that is a stablemate of the 3, and that's all the way to the outside. The 6, Believable, also trained again by Todd Pletcher Velasquez, gets the mount here. Both these horses are Rapoli stable horses. This is a big time horse, you know, at least in terms of purchase price, $800,000. You know, horse here out of a Tappet. You know, the dam is dam sire is a Tappet, and then you got Curlin as a sire, and it's just like really well bred. Feels like it's going to want to go longer. On debut was impressive. Beat concurrently the horse that you're picking. Came back, didn't necessarily run great. They're throwing blinkers on this time. Finished second. It wasn't like it was a terrible effort, but feels like maybe got a little distracted, and that's why they throw the blinkers on here. And another thing too here is when I looked at this race, and again, it's always tricky with 2-year-olds, but you know, especially running a mile and 8 for the first time, you never know with the pace, but it just feels like there's a lot of horses that are going to, you know, obviously the 3 is going to be forwardly placed, but you know, I think concurrently will be forwardly placed. I think the 2 will be forwardly placed. And so I do think the 6 can sit off a little bit. And if it can, maybe will be a benefactor of a hot pace.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think you're right about that as well. I thought Believable was pretty good on debut. Obviously, I did because I have concurrently on top, and Believable finished ahead. The second race wasn't great, and I don't know why. I don't really know what happened. Maybe didn't get, you know, that trip. Maybe, you know, that they got the first time. Maybe just didn't run quite as well. I'm not sure, but didn't run very well in that one. But I think I could see him bouncing back. And again, yeah, it's a Curlin out of a Tappet mare, so you go a mile and 1/8. And look, it's tricky right now with 2-year-olds going a mile and 1/8. And you said it, we're going to go a mile and 1/8, and then we're going to go back to a mile at this circuit, and then we'll go a mile and 1/8 again, and then we'll go back to a mile, and then we'll go a mile and 1/8 again. So it's really weird. But look, definitely bred for it. I think it's going to be very interesting. I don't know. Look, I was impressed with Zany, the number 3 horse on debut. I do want to mention that. Like, this is not a situation where I went, well, I think that's a phony horse. No, I mean, that was a pretty good, solid effort. I just think there's a chance to beat her here. And I think I don't mind what you're doing. And obviously, I think concurrently still has more left in the tank too. So taking a little shot against in this one doesn't seem like the worst thing to me.
Here's the thing, and I'll put this horse in the winner's circle right here, but aside from the 5, like I really think every one of these horses in this race have a shot to win, like a decent shot to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the 5, 15-1 on the morning line as well. It kind of shows that, but honestly, when I went through and handicapped this, I kind of gave a pretty hard look at every one of these horses. And you know, the 1 is interesting, is a horse that's been running very well. Yeah. Just been running at Delaware, but a horse that certainly that could bounce in and a surprise, I think, especially from a pace standpoint. You never know, too, Halter, when they stretch out like this long for the first time, sometimes like that horse on the front end just goes. It just keeps going, right? Because like some of them are they can't get there. They're tired. They don't, they didn't handle the 2 turns for the first time, and that horse on the lead just never looks back. And so sometimes you get one of those situations where it's like, hey, that was kind of like, I definitely overthought that. Just whatever, the Zanny, for instance, just went gate to wire, and it wasn't really ever close.
Yeah. Yeah, and no, I agree with you on that. Especially at this young of an age, getting out in front is always going to be a good thing. The other kind of issue, I guess I would say, with it is, boy, does it look like a lot of these horses want to get to the front. And boy, could that set up for maybe a pace meltdown in the 6, because the 6 Believable, none of these horses are slow. Like they're going to be none of them are Sierra Leone, right? So, or that type. So, yeah, I mean, Believable might not be quite as fast as 3 or 4 of these horses, but she's also not going to be way behind. And that's the same way with concurrently. And so anyway, this is a weird race. 2-year-old fillies going a mile and 1/8. There's 6 of them. I mean, this is strange, right? And that's why I think why it's the 3rd race on the card. They're kind of like, yeah, let's just kind of get this one over with. Plus, the 3 is going to be pretty heavy favorite, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people might gravitate to the 3 just because of the unknownness of the rest of them. And
Yeah.
and like to your point, the 6 on debut essentially went gate to wire. Concurrently, on the other hand, was the horse that was trying to run her down, and couldn't. Versus the next time was off the pace and then made a little bit of a run late. And so, whereas concurrently went gate to wire and won in the last race.
I know. So it does show you, like, I like that. I don't like the inconsistency of running styles. Like, I do hate that. But I do like that. Okay, let's say concurrently and believable missed the break. Well, they've shown they can pass horses and pick horses off, right?
Yeah.
But if they both break well, they I think they'll sit in a real good spot. So, and again, we may just be talking about 2 horses that are just not as good as the 3. That's possible. I would just like to see that, though. I'm not totally convinced that it's just, okay, the 3 is going to run away from the field and on to race 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's what makes this race tricky. Is because you could go you could be like, all right, I think 5 of the 6 are going to win. I'm going 5 deep or whatever, depending on the ticket, and the 3 wins by 10, right? And you're like, well, that was smart. Or you single the 3 and the 6 wins or the 4 wins or whatever. And you're going to have to make an opinion here and go one of those 2 ways, essentially, in some regard. But you and I both are on the same idea of trying to beat the 3. I wouldn't mind playing 3, 4, and 6 if that's what you felt like doing here. If that's again, all depends on the rest of the ticket. But I'm on the 6. You have the 4 to upset the 3. All right, let's go. Several races, I should say, down the card here. Race number 9, still same day, and we're going to go to the Remsen. So same race, just for the boys this time. Remsen Stakes, Grade 2, 250K, mile 8 for the 2-year-old boys. Derby 10-5, 3-2-1, top 5 finishers. A little tougher race here to handicap. Halterman, large field of 12 entered as well, and you got 3-1 on Paladin, who I think is a pretty nice horse. The 2 horse, 9-2 on Courting, 6-1 Igniter, 5-1 on Renegade, 5-1 on Talkin. This one was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go?
I love this race. I think this is such a good race. Love that there's 12 horses, a ton of potential, not a ton of established class. We had that discussion, earlier. That's not a thing here. So you got to just kind of try to handicap and get that potential to come out. But this is a fantastic race. I am super excited about the number 2 Paladin and the number 9 Renegade. I watched the maiden live, and I kind of just went out of my head. I didn't remember it until I came back and watched it as I was studying for this race. I was like, yeah, that's the race. So basically what happens is Paladin's sitting in front or sitting right off the pace and starts to take over. And Renegade is like stuck behind horses. He gets through. They kind of lock heads basically. And they just took off from the rest of the horses in the race. They just took off. They end up going noses apart. Renegade gets the nose down first. Paladin second. A really solid race. Renegade gets disqualified for something happens a lot earlier in the race. So Paladin actually wins. But Renegade crossed the wire first. I go back and I'm like, man, I think both horses are bred to go a little bit longer. Now, can they get a second starts of their career? Or second for Paladin, third for Renegade? I don't really know. But still, they're bred to go this long. They look like they were getting stronger as the wire approached. I really like both of them quite a bit. Now, there's a lot of other horses I'm sure we'll talk about, but those were the 2. I like Paladin in this spot, so that's going to be my top pick, number 2 Paladin. I know didn't win that race last time out, even though, got the money for the win, did not cross the wire first. I love the running style. I thought the horse was really patient and then just took over. I think second start, we're going to see this horse get a little bit better than the first start. And again, I think stretching out is what this horse really wants to do. So I went number 2 Paladin on top.
Yeah, this race is awesome. I mean, and listen, this has the makings of, this one has high potential, I'll say, to be another top 5, top 10, and maybe multiple ones out of this race as far as our draft coming up. Because, listen, Paladin is impeccably bred, a son of Gunrunner out of a Tappet mare, $1.9 million horse, almost a $2 million horse, who won, quote unquote, won on debut. Did, obviously ran well regardless. Finished second, got placed first, but ran great. And we haven't seen that horse since, but obviously high expectations, should run really well going longer. And then like the 9, I mean, Renegade was almost a $1 million horse with out of a Into Mischief, or sired by Into Mischief out of a Curlin mare. Very well bred. Robert and Lena Lowe, we know them obviously from here in Springfield, but have done a lot with Pletcher. So another really well bred, really well connected horse. And then even like a horse like Talkin, the 11, Danny Gargan, good trainer, big time purchase horse, good magic. So like finished second in the Champagne, although distant second, but still. So there's a lot of possibilities coming out of this race, in my opinion. Not something normally I feel like, the Rimson's been decent at times as far as producing horses, right? We've seen some good horses in this race. I'm on the 2 as well. I think this horse might be pretty damn good, and I think at one race kind of learned a lot, got some experience going a mile, but I think stretching out will make this horse even better.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm pretty excited, to see this. It's funny. Felipe says it reminds him of Fierceness versus Sierra Leone. It's Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher. It reminded me of another Chad Brown, Todd Pletcher kind of not rivalry, but race in the 2021 Rimson when Mo Donegal and Zandon hit the line together.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's what that maiden race reminded me of. It's like, man, that's very similar. It reminded me of that a lot because, it's like those two heavy hitters going at it there. But the other thing about it, and I'm happy to hear you're on them as well, and kind of saw that as well. But if you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I like a totally different horse, I think that's okay because this race looks pretty darn good to me. I think the number 6 Courting is super intriguing. $5 million purchase. Obviously, that jumped up the page, but I don't necessarily care about that. But what I care about is an incredible pedigree. And I care about a horse that last time out after he hit the line, he galloped out huge. Like he was ready to run 1 1/8 right now. I think he's ready for 1 1/4 right now. So I think the number 6 Courting could really improve as they start to stretch out in distance more and more. If you just look at the races, the 2 races, which were both at 1 mile, he's not flashy. He's not jumping off the page, but he's just looked like a grinder to me. And I think this could be where you could start to see him look pretty good. So I liked Courting a little bit. I liked Igniter, the 7.
Igniter, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. You want to talk about him?
No, I just think, his debut was decent.
Yeah.
At Saratoga, obviously those maiden special weights at Saratoga are always really good. And got beat by a horse who came back to win. Oscar's Hope came back to win after that race, improved the buyer, stretched out a little bit, won that thing, and did it pretty impressive. Beat Rebel Instinct, a horse that came back to win at next asking as well. So yeah, I think he's a horse, Dutrow, that, I mean, again, like you said, like I wouldn't be shocked if, that's a horse that's making the right kind of moves as they, increasing and looking a little bit better with each start. Definitely a horse that I think, that's why I'm so excited about this race, because I do think it's got pretty high potential to be horses that we're going to see multiple times down the next several months.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with everything you said. Igniter, and he kind of a horse that's probably going to not get ignored. That's not the right word, but probably maybe get overlooked a bit. And it's like, man, that was a pretty good race. Both those races were pretty good. You can tell, I'm more excited about this one than the last one just by how we're talking. Speaking of talking, the number 11 talking. Okay. I have Napoleon Solo right now ranked number 2. A lot of that is you got to rank somebody number 2, but a lot of it is Napoleon Solo's look good in 2 starts. Talkin ran second to this horse. Now it was way behind, 6.5 lengths. But Talkin also ran very well on debut to win at Saratoga. He beat Stradale, who's not terrible. He's not great. He beat Further Ado, who we've kind of, he got better when they went longer. That was a good maiden, okay? And then the Champagne to run second. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm telling you, that horse is interesting as well. And I think a lot of years when you look at the Rimson, that's kind of the one you'd go to first. And that's not really the case this year, which is kind of crazy.
Well, yeah, 2 years ago as well, Danny Gargan wins with a horse named Dornock and obviously knows how to win this race. Dornoch was coming in out of a maiden special weight win, but still was somewhat lightly regarded until, kind of started to keep continuing to make a name for himself down the road. Obviously was a very good horse, but I mean, again, like you said, like he would Gargan normally with this kind of horse in this race might be, a low price, might have Irad Ortiz on the board or something like that. And yet here we are, nothing against Camus, but that just shows how good this field is. And I give it shit for being a mile and 8th race in December, 6th, but it does on the flip side kind of give you some excitement. Like, hey, these are horses that seem like they're going to want to go long. They're bred to go long anyways, and might give you a little bit of preview of what we'll see, in the Wood and in Florida Derby, wherever these horses hopefully end up going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I hope, at least 2 or 3 of these, if not more, just kind of live up. They don't have to win, but just like run well, live up to the kind of how I've got this in my head is like, okay, like last week I was like, okay, you got Further Ado, and I don't know after that, right? Where this week it's like, come on, 3 or 4 or 5 of you run well, kind of start to establish yourself, because this feels like a much deeper group. And I just, you want to see them develop, especially, and there's, like I said, Gargan's a really good trainer, obviously. Yeah, Chad Brown, Todd Pletcher, Dutrow, if you love him or hate him, he's a good trainer. So there are horses that look like they've got bright futures and pretty good hands as well. So that's another good thing about it.
Yep. All right. We're both on the 2 Paladin. Whether you, however you bet this, I should say, and however it comes out, sometimes, you have a bet and you miss, you're like, oh shit, you turn it off. You don't remember this race, study this race, remember who wins, watch how they run, because these are horses that, you might get this race wrong, but you might get it right the next time they run because of what you saw. So good race, the Rimson. Make sure you checked out at that one. And of course, the main event, race 10, the Cigar Mile Handicap, 500K, grade 2, 1 mile for 3-year-olds and up. Field of 7 shows up here, and really a pretty wide open race. Phileas Fogg at 9-5, 2-1 on Bishop's Bay. Crazy Mason at 7-2. Doc Sullivan to the inside at 5-1. Everyone else double digits. What do you think of this one? Phileas Fogg, it starts with him. Did you go there?
Yeah, it's kind of a weak running of the race. I don't think there's any doubt about it. This is not one of the better ones we've had. I didn't go Phileas Fogg on top. I ended up with Bishop's Bay, the 7 horse, a horse that I end up on almost every time, unless he's running against Bookham Dano in the Forgo, then I'm on Bookham Dano. But past that, Bishop's Bay is usually a horse I'm picking. I like him in this spot quite a bit. I like his running style. I like that he's drawn to the outside. He can kind of probably sit off Phileas Fogg and maybe Mika. I think that horse will go as well. He's got to bide his time, and then hopefully, for my sake, go get him down the stretch. So I think it's a weak running. I don't know that Bishop's Bay is a horse you think of a whole lot when it comes to winning the Cigar Mile after some of the horses that have won it in the past. But I do think he makes sense in this running. It's not the greatest. So give me number 7, Bishop's Bay on top.
Well, before I'll say I'm going Phileas Fogg, but what? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a horse that's been hasn't been running a mile. This is a horse that's been running like 1.25 miles, mile and 3/16, mile and 1/8, and not just against like anybody, but against Sierra Leone and Antiquarian and like some of the, so. Yeah, I mean, distance-wise, obviously not an issue. Has ran well at Aqueduct, loves Aqueduct, actually. Has ran well at this distance, even at a mile. But what do you think about, like, this? It doesn't necessarily feel like the bread and butter of the horse, or is it? You know what I mean? Like, is it like, hey, well, this is a big race, we'll go ahead and run him. He likes Aqueduct, but kind of makes you wonder. It does help, I think, that he likes to go gate to wire, so shouldn't be like necessarily an issue from a pace standpoint, but just an interesting, like, hey, let's been running this horse against the best of the best at 1.25 mile, whatever. And now we're going to a mile.
Yeah, look, I really think the class relief can't be overstated. Like, this is such an easier race than what he's been facing. I think the trip's going to be the big key. Like, I think it's a 2-horse race between the 6 and the 7. So I'm not going to talk you off the 6 at all. The distance will be a big key. And then the trip of, you go slower, obviously, when you're going longer. So will there be a horse, and let's just throw out Mika because he's been up there close. Will there be a horse that's, a mile type runner, or Doc Sullivan maybe a little bit, that speeds Phileas Fogg up and gets him out of his game? That's going to be the key, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be something like that that's going to take the 7 Bishop's Bay, who's, I think, going to stalk the pace a little bit, softened up, and then go gets him, right? But look, I mean, if Phileas Fogg gets the trip and he's kind of out there relaxed, I think it's going to be tough to beat him. But I don't know. I go shortening up, that speed could cook up, and then you got a situation where maybe he's just running a little bit too fast, too early.
Yeah, Davey thinks it's either going to be the 6 or the 7. I'm so used to that. It's insane. I hate that, but I hate that I am that way because all I ever hear in my house. So yeah, 6, 7. It's going to be one of those. Yeah, I think here's the thing. I'll tell you this: like, the 2 is interesting. I don't know. Like, I don't think he can win, but it's Mike Maker first. First race with him. You know what he does sometimes with these types of horses at Laurel, the Delaware. Have been running on the turf and on the dirt, and this just has been crushing the fields. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think the horse can do it, but if you're looking for a long shot, like a horse that could go gate to wire, ran a huge buyer last out, I wouldn't talk you off this horse.
Well, I've watched Mika run a few times at Laurel there on days where you kind of have him as a best bet or something like that. And I mean, I don't know how that's going to transfer here, but that horse is fast. And I do think if you bet the 2, as long as he breaks well, you're going to think you're have a shot at winning for a lot of that race. It is a fast horse. There's no doubt about that.
I do think, and obviously, anytime Maker has his hands on a horse, you got to kind of throw a past performances. A lot of times, like, hey, I don't know if this horse is good enough. Sometimes they are good enough, especially early on. But yeah, Phileas Fogg, for me, I just think the class of this horse is enough. Bishop's Bay is good too. Like, he's shown class, but overall class, I mean, this is a horse that's ran 96, 105, 104, 99, 98 buyers the last 5 starts. That's Phileas Fogg, and all been running in grade 1s, grade 2s, grade 3s. So this shouldn't be any sort of a hike for him. And I think the fact that, hey, he loves Aqueduct, let's run him on the track he loves. And, I think he's going to be tough. So, give me the 6, Phileas Fogg. But I'm with you. Anytime you have a race like this where you're like, I don't know, like it sounds like the highest quality race. Sometimes, weird shit can happen.
Oh yeah. I mean, the bottom line is if Mika takes him gate to wire and, sovereignty's behind him, then it's surprising. But if it's Bishop's Bay trying to catch him, it's like, well, I get it. Or Phileas Fogg or whoever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Phileas Fogg for me. Halterman's got number 7, Bishop's Bay, to win Saturday Cigar Mile. All right. Shoddy, before you've been active here in the chat, so I'll let you decide. You wanted the gray, but I obviously have no idea how that just gives us random horses. But give me a number between 1 and 10, and that's how many times I'll shuffle the horses. That way, that's who you can get, and then I'll shuffle that many times, and then we'll have the horses. So.
That sounds good. Yeah, so we'll run the race, get the results. We're only going to run it once. 1 through 12 will be the draft order, and then we'll go over the big rule changes and give you the draft date as well.
All right. There they are.
Oh, there they are.
2.
Okay. Well, that's not fun.
2. Let's see. So right now, let's see, where are they? You are red. So let's see. There's 1. Now you're brown. No, where are you at now? You're red still. All right.
There you
go.
Are we doing it?
2.
Go for it.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay, so 2 minutes on the board. They're going to run the race. Wherever they finish, 1 through 12 is the order of the draft, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then we'll go through everything else. Let's see if I can add some. How do I do this? Hang on. We haven't done this in a while. As far as let me add. Let's see. We got any good music to put on here? Oh, here. And
there we go. Oh my goodness. Can he hold on? That's the question.
And where the hell are we at? There you go. Oh, look at you. You're making,
I got the gray horse.
You're making too early of a move, though. Look at this.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah, you're done. Like my team, me and the blue horse here, we're just gonna run and split. Oh, we're on the screen now. We're not even halfway done though, guys. There we go. Come on.
Oh, here we go. Nope.
It's not good, man. We're doing the
Get out of
early
there,
running
guys.
right now.
There's still a minute left on this thing, though. We're good.
There's really no point of watching until the last 30 seconds.
I just love watching him run, though.
I know. Shoddy. Oh, no, early move.
And this is basically the Ted Nafi sweepstakes. Is what this is
exactly.
right here.
Who's the horse that looks the most like Ted Nafi? I guess that would be yours.
Yeah. So it's got to be me that wins, right? Come on.
And the 4. I think he was 4 in the juvenile, right? So.
Yep. Oh
Maybe
no.
This might be a sign for you.
No.
All right, we're 34 seconds away. Magic Mike currently has
Please
the
not
one.
Magic Mike.
Yes, Jared and Kevin have the lead. Now Double D's takes a small margin. Vinny making a run. 24 seconds left. Vinny with the number 1 spot. John and of course it's John and Ryan. 19 seconds left.
Oh my
John
God.
and Ryan making an appearance. Paul in second.
Somebody catch him.
We got 13 seconds. Where's my horse?
Oh, somebody run up there.
Magic Mike. It's going to be Magic Mike or John and Ryan. That's a disaster. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Aaron!
Go!
Vinny!
No!
Vinny with the...
No.
Vinny! Oh, you got 2! Wow. I mean, first of all, just a pathetic running from our horse. I mean, just never even made any run whatsoever there. Vinny comes out of the clouds. And Paul and Ryan and John were like had it, and all of a sudden they're at the back.
All right, I have to shut this off. I'm so mad.
You had it, man. You had it, and you got beat by Mind That Bird, basically, right here.
Look at Vinny grinning from ear to ear. Unbelievable.
Deep closer. I mean, it came from the
Deep
clouds.
closer. Nobody even saw him. When I took the lead, I thought, oh my God, how lucky is this going to be? Nope. All right, do you have the full order of finish? Where did John and Ryan go? Are they last?
We got the 11th pick. That's great.
Wow.
So Vinny, Aaron, Dan are your top 3 picks,
Okay.
followed by Paul, Double D's, Geis, Magic Mike, Shoddy Davy, John, Ryan, Headlow, Manlow, the new team, Jared and Kevin, and Kelby and Evil Stevel have the last pick.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That sucks. The thing is, though, about this, unless you're 1, you might as well, you 2nd through 12 are about the same.
Pretty much.
I mean, so there's really no huge benefit there unless you got the 1. I was literally a race for the 1 because that one is as close to a sure thing as this year comes, right?
Yeah. I mean,
so there you go. I just sent you the list.
Thank you very much for that. I just text Vinny and said, you just got the 1, you blanker. So
you son of a bitch.
All right. So, man, that was rough. I thought I had it. One of the worst losses of my horse racing career just happened right there.
The league hasn't even started, and you've got a bad beat on your hands.
Yeah, it's
not a good start. Well, listen.
My horse needs to wipe that smile off his face. We're not happy.
Hey, you got second. That's good.
You did okay.
At least yours made a run. Got your juices flowing. My horse kept just begging him to make a run. He just sat there and like an idiot.
Yeah.
Just back of the pack. Anyways, all right. So explain the league. If someone's tuning in right now, like what the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? What just happened?
So, all right. So it's a horse racing fantasy league. I am the dictator of the league, and it's a 12-team league this year. We started it was just Jared and I back in the day. Then we went to 6, then we went to 10, and now we're at 12. I can officially say this is it. 12 is the most we're ever going to have. I'm not, because it's getting too much, but people want to play. I want people to play. So, like I said, we're at 12. The brand new team this year is Manlow and Pedlow. I wanted to call them Manny Petty. They said no to that. They're going to come up with a different name.
That'd be good.
I know. They're going to come up with a different name, though. Dan has been in the league forever. He's on his own this year. And then Vinny, who just won, has been in the league forever. He's on his own this year. That's a change from last year. So those were the 12 teams. You just saw them. You get points throughout the whole Triple Crown season once we have the draft. Now, first order of business, the draft will be December 29th. December 29th, we'll draft horses. The league starts January 1st. And so from January 1st on, you can earn points as the Triple Crown season goes. And it's just like the Derby Prep Series. The points get bigger as the races get bigger and more important. There are some changes this year, though.
Okay.
And they're going to be good. I'm excited for them. First of all, I am going to reevaluate the points that I give out for each race. So I'm going to have a new list for everybody probably tomorrow. Got to give me some time to rewrite these rules.
Well, you got to definitely rewrite it now that you didn't get the one pick. You know what I'm saying? Like now that we got screwed a little bit, you can write these so it works out a little bit better for you and I.
Mostly Ted Noffey cannot be drafted first. This will be the first
yeah. Everybody gets there's actually disqualification if you draft. Yeah,
correct.
Yes.
So, rule change number 1. In the past, if you claimed a horse, that cost you 20 points. Now, you could go in the negative, but it costs 20 points to claim a horse. That rule is no longer in place. You can claim as many horses as you want, dropping a horse, obviously, as you claim the next one, for free. There will be no cost to claim a horse in this league now.
Wow.
Now, rule change number 2. The reason why I had it was a penalty to claim a horse is I want the fantasy draft, keyword being draft, to mean something. I want people to come to watch that, and we are giving you this year the 60 best horses that these so-called experts think that night of that draft. So I still want the draft to mean something, which means if you draft a horse and they win, or not even win, finish second, finish third, or even enter the race with a drafted horse that you draft originally that night in one of the major 100-point races, you're going to get a 50% bonus. So say that race is worth 50 points. If you win it with a drafted horse, it's going to be worth 75 points to you. Okay? If you win, or not win, but win second, third, or enter a Triple Crown race with a drafted horse, you're going to get 100% bonus. So, for example, the Kentucky Derby was worth 100 points and will be worth 100 points. But if you win it with a drafted horse, it will be worth 200 points to you. Okay? Now, in the rules, I will lay this out, where you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But you're going to get bonuses for your drafted horses. Doesn't mean you have to keep them, but you're going to get rewarded if you win races late into the season with your drafted horses.
So the big thing that I'm hearing here is that while it's free to claim, if you have a horse that maybe isn't running the January, February, but you still think, hey, that horse could win the Florida Derby that I drafted. It's not like, hey, it's just a free for all to drop and claim, because that horse all of a sudden could get you 75 points. Or hell, it's like, hey, I think he can make the Derby. He's ran one race. He's going to run maybe one more time in April, but I think he can run in the Derby, and that's going to get me 20 points or whatever to even enter the race. So maybe I hold on to him. So I do think it's gonna be creative because you're gonna have to it's a little different strategy than we've ever done, you know.
So the big thing here is we were having injured horses that everybody knew were out for the year. We even had horses that had passed away that were staying on teams because they just didn't want to give up the points. That all goes away. So if a horse is injured, you can swap them out. And I did this because look, if you drafted a terrible horse, that's on you. But a lot of times you're needing to get rid of a horse because they literally are hurt. That's not on you. You can't predict if a horse is going to get hurt. So at the end of the day, I look back and said, why? I mean, people just didn't claim because they were so scared. But it's like, you should be able to claim a horse. If you have a horse that's hurt, you should be able to get out of there and claim a horse and be able to get a new one. And it also creates great content for the website. We'll have, videos around, oh, this horse got claimed and blah, blah, blah. Here's what happened. It's just more of a fun way to cover the Kentucky Derby is what we do with this. That's the main point of it. And anyway, so I just thought, look, you still need to be rewarded because there's something for Shoddy and Davey drafted Sovereignty and should have won Triple Crown, but won 2 out of the 3 Triple Crown races with them. Well, they should get awarded more points and be rewarded for that amazing draft pick in December versus maybe a guy claims a horse in April and wins the Derby with them. If you want to do that, that's great, but it's only going to be worth 100. You need to get rewarded for your draft picks doing well.
Right. Yeah. So I pulled up the final results of last year. You can see Sovereignty, Journalism, both drafted. Of course, horses like, say a Sandman. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think he was drafted, right? Yeah, he was drafted.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a horse that did well that wasn't drafted. Of course, last year it was top heavy because you had the same horse win 2 of the 3 legs.
Yeah, last year's kind of difficult because of that. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know he didn't do well, but like a Clever Again, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't draft, but we picked him up thinking he could get us points. Now he didn't do well. Of course, he was part of that incident in the Preakness. But say he would have won. Well, I think that's what you have created is the right thing because it's like, he wins, right? You get points, but it shouldn't be the same amount of points as Journalism, who was drafted in December,
Right.
So I think it's a fun way to do it. There's gonna be a hell of a lot of claims. It's gonna be more work for you. So I mean, I'm glad I'm not the dictator because everybody's gonna be claiming.
That's good.
But hey, it does beat having sitting there looking at my team, be like, well, I set on disco time all year because I didn't want to drop him.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at my roster. I had Kale's Angel needed to be dropped. Authentic Gallop needed to be dropped. Tip Top Thomas. I mean, it was shit, but I couldn't risk moving down the ladder, so I just sat on them all, and that's not how you should play. So, but you're forced to sometimes. So, comment here is you should get more points if horses run in all 3 races. Well, you will. Because if you draft a horse and they run in all 3 races, see, if you make a Triple Crown race with a horse, you get 10 points. If they run in all 3 and you drafted it, you're going to get 20, 20, and 20. So the bonuses will kind of award horses for running.
What about this? I mean, I know you haven't done the math, but wouldn't that have gotten enough for Journalism to possibly, or Magic Mike show, to win that, to win?
No.
I guess Sovereignty would have gotten more points.
Yeah.
So
I do the math.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you would have had 400 points just for the Derby and the Belmont.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And Journalism, sure. And you would have had 75. No, you lost the Florida Derby actually. So you wouldn't have got you would have got bonus for second. But Magic Mike, no, they couldn't have won it because you still have say that if you would have not had Sovereignty, sure they could have won it. But,
But it rewards a horse like Sovereignty, obviously. Mm-hmm. John Ryan he's gonna be like a fever dream for them. They're gonna be going crazy.
They're going to be thrilled, and that's listen. I don't think they played right, and trying to explain that to Ryan was difficult because it's like you're wasting points, but at the same time, it's like, well, they're trying to get better, and so shouldn't we all? But we really can't because we can do the math on it. But it's like now, you should be trying to get better. You should be trying to get a good solid 5. So anyway, we claim as many as you want. It's wide open. Of course, we'll have shakes if there's multiple claims and stuff like that for horses. So that's something. But yeah, it's very. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be good. I think it'll make it a lot better. And I when I was like, all right, I'm going to take this away for paying for claims, so to speak. My main thing was like, I don't want to devalue the draft. The draft is what it's all about, right? But then it's like, I thought about that. I was like, oh, that's a good way not to do it, So anyway, I'm excited for it.
It's gonna be interesting because now I'm gonna have to because just thinking out loud, and obviously just found out what position, but drafting the 11th spot, which means we draft the 11th, 12th, 4th, and 14th spot. It's gonna be tricky. Obviously, could do it, but it'll be tricky to predict. Hey, finding the Derby horse, there.
Yeah.
But because one strategy is to be like, hey, you're just churning through horses. You're just going through until you find that one or two that you think can get to the Derby. But you're not gonna get those bonus points. But on the flip side, you say, hey, if I can find a Derby horse, if I can find 2 horses that I think can get to the Kentucky Derby, that position becomes so valuable, even though you're drafting in the 12th spot or the 11th spot. Because of that. Now, another thought, just thought of this out loud and make more work for you, but how some leagues you get it's almost like, hey, if I drafted him in the 11th spot, it's worth more points for getting him to the Derby versus if I drafted him, if I drafted Ted Nafi number 1. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've thought about that.
That'd be too hard.
It's too hard. I don't love it, number 1, but I don't hate it either. If it was some kind of automatic process, like if we were on an app that did fantasy horse racing that could do that automatically, that'd be one thing. But I don't want to mess with that.
No, because then you'd be trying to figure out, what's the 11th spot worth, and what percentage. No. But yeah, I mean, it does certainly give a huge because listen, unless he gets hurt, the bonus is Ted Nafi's. He's got it because he's going to get to the Derby.
Well, but and here's the deal: in a situation, let's say Ted Nafi does amazing and wins 2 out of 3 legs or whatever happens. I mean, Finney's going to win the league anyway. You know what I mean? So the bonus really isn't going to help a situation like that. Where the bonus could help is say you draft 15th and you get the Derby winner. I mean, something like that. So,
I mean, let's just try. I'm last year was kind of a rarity. Well, at least from what we've seen in the last several years. Think of a horse like Mage, right?
Yeah, he would not have been drafted, obviously.
Or even I'm trying to think of a horse that was drafted, but also, would have been Mo Donegal was drafted pretty early. I'm thinking Belmont, but some of those horses that drafted 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds, but still end up being top contenders of these of the Triple Crown races. I think that's when you're okay, this makes a lot of sense.
Well, a lot of times you get a horse. You get a year where none of the draftees make it. And then it's like, wow, well, what do we do here?
Even for that purpose, though, it's like, hey, but there was this one horse that I drafted in the 5th round that's going to make the Derby. Maybe he's not very good, but I got, that's at least worth something, right?
Yep.
Mystic Dan, was he drafted?
Mystic Dan wasn't drafted. Obviously Rich Strike wasn't. National Treasure was drafted. But again, so I just look at it like this. They Shoddy Davy drafted National Treasure, right? and they won they drafted on like December 20th and they won the Preakness. That has to count for something. You know,
Yeah.
that's unbelievable. Versus like your situation, you claimed Clever again, and then he goes on and win the Preakness, and you claimed him like April 20th. Still great, but it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like it. I think it's a good change. I think it's going to make things a little bit more interesting throughout the year. It's going to definitely change the strategies, you know, because you're going to have to think more long term, and you know what horses that you want to hold on to or don't want to hold on to. And so yeah, it's definitely going to be a new strategy. Definitely not excited about where we're drafting, but you know, our horse just wasn't our day.
So yeah, there you go. Baeza was one that wasn't drafted that could have, you know, in a different world won races. And so there's still something to it. Like I think Baeza was picked up in like February or maybe March. I don't remember, but still, like if you pick that horse up, they win. Yeah, I mean, 100 points, great job.
And it
Whatever.
could change, and again, it could change the style of when you might want to draft Baeza. You know what I mean? Because you're like, you know what? I know it's early, but if he gets to the Derby, and I could just drop him next week or 2 weeks or a month down the road and not get a penalty for it. So you might as well take a shot with some of these horses now in the draft, knowing that the bonus could be that much more valuable.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Also, you know, for my case, let's say Tip Top Thomas was a horse I drafted saying, okay, we'll hold off. We got him. We'll wait till April. Where a horse like that now, it's like, I'll just pick him up if I need him. You know what I mean? I don't need to get him now because I need to, you know what I'm saying? So I think it changes everything. And I think for the better, I hope for the better. We'll see how it goes, but
yeah. All right, guys, that's a look at the fantasy draft order.
I will send out an email with all this to all the people in the league. So don't worry.
Let's see. Let me pull this up for this. Let me pull this link for him. So this was the link to last year's. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So that was last year's. Again, this is I think this is like I think maybe last year was like the 12th annual. Maybe I think so. Know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But we've done a lot of years. So if you know, it gets a little bit different each year, but there you go.
Yep.
All right. That's all the time we have. Check us out over at racingnews.com for our free picks and our premium selections. You'll get the, you know, if you haven't done, we had a ton of people that did, but if you haven't, we checked out the premium picks, took advantage of that 50% off. That deal's off, but we do have deals going throughout the year every month if you are a subscriber, an email subscriber. So make sure you do that if you haven't already. Racing News Premium, great time to be a premium subscriber. Obviously, the betting Bibles have taken a break since the Breeders' Cup. We'll have more. When's the next one? Is it the Malibu, or are we just going straight to the Pegasus?
We'll go straight to the Pegasus. I don't want to mess with that during Christmas. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad you said that. We might be doing some revisions with that next year. We'll talk more about that as it comes. But again, the betting Bibles are free if you are a premium subscriber, and of course, big races coming up. So now is the perfect time to kind of take a break, reload, and get ready for next year. We're on Twitter at @racer_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you like to listen to. We're there. Go to YouTube if you haven't done so. You can watch more of our videos. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you get alerted to watch more when more come out. Dudes Who Bet Sports was on yesterday. The Magic Mike Show, I think did they already record, or are they about to? I saw they're on the page. Did they already record?
Yes, it is already out. They went right before us. So you check those out now. Those idiots out now, I should have said.
I believe they did Aqueduct picks as well. So you can go check them out as well. And that's all I got, Halterman.
Okay.
We're about done.
Okay. Go get your kids.
Okay, go pick up my boys before they get mad. And it's cool. And we've got a Christmas program tonight. So Cohen has one. He's got it's like they sing, but they also like do like parts in between. He's like, I have a speaking part. I'm like, cool. I was like, what's your line or whatever? He goes, ouch. Like, boy,
he can handle that. Yeah.
Boy, I hope you handle that one. So I walked up to him and I just smacked him on the arm, and he goes, what? And I was like, practice.
Yeah.
Ouch. How are you gonna say it?
That was your chance.
Yeah, he screwed it up. And so
screwed it up.
We'll see. Oh, by the way, real quick, earlier the other day they had the 67th day of school celebration. They had 6-7 hats. They add Skittle. I think it was Skittles and 7-Up or something, like 6 Skittles and 7-Up. I'm like, don't you know, being in that school that day was beyond torture. Just 6-7.
I don't.
All right.
I don't want to live anymore in this world.
Again, I say that, but you're like, we did stupid shit too. I mean, we had stupid shit when we were at that age. So.
Yeah, but we celebrated something that meant something. You know?
Yeah, it meant something. We said, "What's up?"
That's right.
This is
exactly.
Stupid.
Well, literally, that does mean something. So
that's true. 6-7 literally means nothing. So, all right. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. We'll see you next time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.